Hey there, this is Anthony Gordon with Avid Artist Relations, back at you at Bonnaroo 2010. And we're here on the Norah Jones tour bus, which is a nice break from the 100-degree, 100% humidity outside.
Absolutely.
And we're here with Boo, who's the monitor engineer, monitor mixer here for the Norah Jones band here at Bonnaroo. How you doing today?
I am doing phenomenal, even though you're right. It's a nice break being on the bus from the 100-degree heat out there.
So tell me, how'd you get into the world of monitor land?
Well, I was way back in my history. I was working for a group called the Verve Pipe, and I was their front of house engineer. And when they started hitting it, going up the ranks of the touring industry, they needed both a front of house engineer and a monitor engineer, and I opted to go to the monitors so I could take care of the guys. And I've been in monitors ever since. I love the work. I love working with just the band and pleasing them instead of having to please 50,000 people and having them come up to me at front of house and go, "Man, that sounded like whatever."
You needed to turn up the bass on that one, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Jokers in the audience. Yeah, so there is a special relationship, I think, that exists between monitor engineers and the band, because the band typically doesn't hear what's going on in front of house. And we were talking to Brett earlier about how actually he's able to record some of the shows and play it back to the band, which has kind of changed the nature of that business a little bit. But for the most part, when an artist is up on stage, they're not hearing what the audience is hearing. They get a totally separate mix. And to be able to work with them communicate what they want to you and you to give it to them, that seems like a really cool, special kind of relationship, huh?
It is a very special relationship. In fact, I find that every band that I work for, you have to get their hand and facial signals and know what they want, because like of course with Norah, she's playing an instrument and singing at the same time, but there are certain signals that I know that she makes that when she wants something, she'll make that signal and I'll give it to her. More piano, she'll do this, that type of thing. And then sometimes I'll make the hand signals and then she can do yes or no, that type of thing. And that's pretty much the way it is for every member of the band, but you have to know their little intricacies of what they're doing, because somebody can be playing and singing at the same time, look over at you and just go like that. You'll have to know whether it's their instrument or their vocal. Yeah. And generally it's their vocal.
Yeah.
So, and then,
or if they're just saying, "Hey, this is awesome," right?
Yeah.
It might just be like the cool rock and roll acknowledgement nod.
That would be the wink.
That's the wink.
The smile. Yeah, that's what happens. But yeah, every person has a different way of doing that. Yeah. And it's up to me, the extra member of the band, which is what I consider myself. Not trying to pat myself on the back or anything, but it's a very important job.
It is. Whether how they feel and how they hear their performance, if you don't get a good mix on stage, the whole show is shot for you. There's just no fun or joy playing a show where you can't hear yourself or it's all messed up. So yeah, I absolutely think that it is another member of the band, without a doubt.
Absolutely. And it helps that I grew up in a very musical family. I play plenty of instruments and everything, so it helps me know what they want as far as tonality and that type of thing. And a monitor engineer really needs to know their stuff on that. Yeah. So yeah, being a musician helps also.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Yeah.
So how did you get into the world of digital sound consoles and then the profile specifically? Oh, sorry.
Originally, I had been on numerous analog desks through all sorts of tours. I got to know digital desks as being a systems engineer first, not having to actually mix, but having to go through certain things to get sound to different areas, knowing that first. And then when it came to mixing Norah, the monitor engineer decided to leave and asked if I would take over the position, and the gear was already specified for the tour, so I just hopped into using a profile, and it was a very seamless move because the desk acts so much like an analog desk, even though it's all digital. Yeah. There are a few things that are still confusing to me. There's no doubt, because it's not just a punch and go type thing for a digital desk, which it really is on an analog desk. If somebody wants something, boom, you reach for it. Now it's, if somebody wants something, okay, I go to that person's mix and then go to that channel and then bring it up. So it's another couple of steps, but once you get past that, you get very fast, very, very fast. And
it's a whole bigger set of tools too.
Very, very big. You don't have to have all those racks sitting beside you or anything. It's all in the desk, and it's very, I got to tell you, self-explanatory. You know how to route just by looking at the screen or looking at the desk. It's very, very user-friendly.
Yeah, that's nice to hear, because sometimes dudes who come up the analog, old school mix world, I've heard from some dudes, they see it and they're like, oh, it's got a computer screen over my head. But when they actually sit down in front of it, I've heard from people who said, I never wanted to mix on a digital console before. I had to use it at a festival. I learned it in 3 minutes, and now I'm speccing it out for my next tour. Because of the things like replacing the racks and racks of gear, one, that saves money, but two, you don't have to be hunting around for which cables is messed up in a patch, you know, like when it's 100 degrees out and you have 20 minutes to turn it over. I think that's all really cool.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And the size alone, the one that I'm actually carrying on tour, myself and our systems tech can set up the whole monitor world by ourselves. I don't need to have 12 guys and a tilt stand to tip the console over, that type of thing. And at the end of the night, it's, you know, it's literally, I think, 6 patches that I have to undo to pack the console up, and that's 2 of them are the screen and the screen's power. So it's a pretty great thing to go through.
Cool.
So
I was talking to your partner Brett a bit about this, and a little bit with you outside about the nature of mentorship, because I know both of you guys worked with John Cooper, who's a legendary sound guy, and like notably a mentor and a guy who's been willing to share his knowledge and his experience. Would you describe the mentorship relationship that you have with him, and how that's helped out in your career?
I think that road goes both ways. There are some things that both Brett and I brought to the table that, not calling John old school, but there were some things that he thought of in a different way. And the 3 of us, the tribeca, I guess, of the audio crew for Bruce Springsteen, when we all got together, we decided how to do things and route things in a different way. And we all still talk to each other, whether we're on a different tour or not, and call each other and go, gee, how would you do this? He has brought a lot of things to the table, John Cooper, that is, and Brett also. Brett is a phenomenal engineer. I can't say enough about him, and he knows his stuff. And I learn something every day from him. So I actually consider Brett more of a mentor to me than John Cooper, because John Cooper and I come from both the same old school way of doing things, and Brett has brought us both into the digital realm pretty seamlessly. And he, John Cooper, great engineer. I'm not going to take anything away from that, and he's taught me quite a bit. So, and like I said, that road goes both ways. We've all taught each other something, and some of the monitor guys that I've worked with in the past have taught me stuff, and I've taught them stuff too. So it's pretty cool.
How important is it, do you think, for people to have real success in this business to be able to maintain that kind of lack of ego and that kind of teamwork and that sharing of information, that sense of community? Because, you know, some dudes are pretty guarded about it. I've met them, you've met them, but then you meet a crew like you guys and like everybody here on the Norah Jones tour, where everyone's really working together, and it's got people firing on all cylinders and discovering new ways of doing things better. How important do you think having that kind of good attitude has been to your career and to being able to give the artists a sense that they're in good hands?
I find it's extremely important. If you're not willing to communicate, if you're not willing to be part of the team, you get weeded out pretty quick. And that's the way most people, I would like to think about me. The reason that I get asked for other tours and all that is because I don't just do monitors. I do backline, I've done video, I've done lights, I've done pretty much everything.
Yeah.